All right. Hello, everyone. That is going to make John laugh out loud, Joe. I see what you're doing there. However, you're going to have to hope Lisa sees that in the chat because unfortunately, folks, we are without Lisa again this week. Very sorry about that. However, there's a very good reason for it. No reason to panic, but she is having, thank you, Mom Dog, having a health issue right now that is going to require her to have a procedure done 2 weeks from today. So she will probably not be participating in the live streams for at least the next few weeks. 2 weeks from now, the day of her procedure, I don't know if I'll be streaming. Hopefully we do that and come home and everything's great. And she's like, get out there and do what you got to do. I don't know. I can't make any promises, but next week should be business as usual. It will just be me. And then the following week, hit or miss. We'll have to see. I don't know, but I'll keep you updated for sure. And you know, these are famous last words, but it's nothing life threatening or anything like that. So it's not, you know, it's not nothing, but it's not, you know, one of those, you know what I'm saying? I hope you understand what I'm saying. But it's certainly not an elective procedure that's happening. So yeah. If she does show up in the chat tonight, send her your best wishes. That would be very nice. I got a whole lot of stuff to talk about right now. First of all, uploaded another Money Pit video today. Very excited about this one because in this one, I actually get some work done and it was so much fun. I went absolutely crazy with this video. And the editing took me longer than probably any video I've ever edited in my entire life. But it was so worth it. It was so much fun. And I'm building cabinets in this video. So if you want to see how I do that and hear the story and all of that fun stuff and see some fun movie clips and be involved in all of the shenanigans, check that video out. Thank you, Zen Ginger. Put the... did I use duct tape? No. Thought about it. But there was duct tape in the first video. I think you saw that because I'm pretty sure you commented on that. That wasn't done by me though. But this video was a whole lot of fun to do. And right now, I'm actually going through one of those kind of like, I can't wait till I'm finally done with this part, which is the finishing of the doors. 43 doors and drawer fronts that I'm at the moment painting. Not obviously right now. I'm not painting them while I'm talking to you, but you know, got to paint them front to back, 3 coats on each one. It's a lot. So that's one of those things where it just takes forever. And but I kind of just get lost and I just get in the zone and I just do my thing. But anyway, the video that goes up, the next video will not be 43 hours long, I promise. So anyway, if you're interested in another side of me, seeing me do things that you've never seen me do before, and you're interested in home renovation and stuff like that, the Money Pit channel is there, and it's been a lot of fun. So there you go. Next thing is, this is going to lead into a couple of big things. Oh, there's 2 male cardinals right outside my door. Isn't it glorious that it's 7 o'clock on the East Coast and it's still light outside? It's beautiful. This is my favorite time of year because I know I've got 6 or 7 months worth of long days and not sitting around being bored all the time. And when you can look out the window and see 2 male cardinals, which I am a sucker for cardinals, that's really cool. We got this week probably the largest shipment of plants we've ever gotten. It was absolutely massive. And We got plants from all 3 of the farms that we deal with. Well, the 3 that we deal with the most often. We deal with 4, but one of them we kind of order from every once in a while. But the 3 that we order from all the time, got big orders from all 3 of those this week. And I got to be brutally honest with you about something. I made a huge mistake. It might turn out to not be a mistake. We'll have to see. But I ordered a plant by accident. And the reason why I ordered it, well, the reason why it's an accident, or I didn't intend to order this, was because everybody labels this plant as extremely difficult to keep. It is kind of like one of those holy grail plants to a lot of people, but also very difficult for a lot of people. This is my first experience with the plant. I am talking about the crypt flamingo. I thought I was ordering one thing, but I accidentally checked a different box and I ordered a bunch of those. Happy accident. That's right, Ted. Hopefully it's a happy accident. If I don't, if we don't sell them because people are like, oh no, I'm afraid of that, then it will be a disaster, but we'll have to see. But they are on there right now. Put them in the Oscar tank. You want to talk about a disaster? They're not the cheapest, but they're only a couple dollars more than your average crypt out there. And we got them. They're on there. We got 25 of them. So when they're gone, they're gone. And I never see them available from this farm that we deal with. Yeah, we got them. So if you're interested in that, and also, I mean, we've been out of crypts for a while. We've been out of quite a few Anubiases. We got all of those in with the exception of Crypt Parva and Anubias caufifolia. Those 2 have not been, they've not been available to us at any of the farms, any of the 3. But pretty much everything else we got in. So if you're interested, keepfishkeeping.com. It's right there. And away we go. Just watched the Money Pit video. Thank you, ex-Cali Kev. Appreciate that. It's a long one, but it's a lot of fun. And if you stay tuned to the very end, I decided to do something with that video that I've never done with KG Tropicals. I always use little movie clips and like Steve Carell. That's what she said, that kind of stuff. That's so much fun to put those in videos. And I did that in the Money Pit video. I used a Ricky Bobby clip, a Deuce Bigelow clip 3 times. I wonder which one that was. A clip from Dodgeball. And there's one more. Oh, At Close Range. So it just fit perfectly in that video. But then at the end, the very, very end, I ran the clips entirely. So you get the context of what the actual clip was. Something that I thought was a lot of fun. It's like the last probably 45 seconds of the video is all the clips, the extended clips. I don't know. It didn't get copyright hit, so I'm happy about that. But anyway, you're getting me off track here, ex-Cali Kev. I'm glad you watched it, though. Hope you enjoyed it. I sure did enjoy making the video. I had more fun making the video than I did making the cabinets. I've made thousands of cabinets, and I enjoy it, but it's almost just like going through the motions at this point. But with that channel, I just set up 2 cameras and I just start working, and whatever happens, happens. So mine are in CO2 though, so that helps. Your flamingos, yeah, see, that's the thing. Flamingos, a lot of people do recommend, and some people will tell you they will not survive without CO2. Apparently they do better for Zen with CO2. I mean, I've seen that every single bit of research I've ever done on the flamingos. Everybody says CO2, but there's a few that say you don't have to. See how it goes. The good thing is I remember seeing them a while back and they were like $30 a piece, not wholesale, but retail. And I was like, good Lord, like who's going to buy that? That's like buying a discus back in the 80s. You pay ridiculous money for it and they're super fragile and you don't know what's going to happen. But now, you know, I mean, they're not really much more expensive than anything else. They're smaller, but it's still, you know, anytime you buy a plant and it doesn't make it, then it's frustrating, even if you just paid $1 for it. But anyway, on the topic of plants, we have made another adjustment to our shipping policies. We've found ourselves in a really good situation. It's a long story. I'm not going to go into the details. We were not given any particular like special deal or anything like that. Not at all, actually. But it's something that's working out really well for us. We have found a way to utilize UPS and the Postal Service, and we only have to take all of the packages to one place. Back in the day where we live, we would go to the Postal Service and separately go to UPS, which was right down the street. It was no big deal. Our Postal Service here where I live, in the county that I live in, well, they lost their mind. Whoever the like district manager is, not the local postmaster. I happen to know him. He comes over here all the time for work purposes, and we always have a nice talk. He's a great guy. It's not his fault. It's the whole place decided they were going to reroute everything and just blew up the Postal Service here. Everybody hates it. Oh, you said without CO2? Wait, mine did pretty well in the low-tech tank, but the first time I moved things, it melted and never came back. They're very finicky with CO2, but still doable-ish, especially in low KH. Okay. Well, see, you know more about that plant than I do, Zen. Anyway, that's when we had to start driving our orders an hour away to a post office really far away. And the UPS office where I live closed down. They're like, yeah, you can't do it anymore. We're out. So we've been trying to scramble and figure out a way to do this. We found a place that's 20 minutes from us where we can drop off both at the same time. It's like a shipping center kind of thing, which is great. We are no longer shipping plants by way of the Postal Service, plants or snails by way of the Postal Service priority mail. We are using UPS ground or UPS 3-day select. Some areas, particularly the West Coast, Washington, Oregon, Nevada, California, some parts of Arizona, the shipments take like 5 days if you use UPS ground. So for those, we use 3-day select. We don't charge you any extra for that. It's not your fault that you live all the way across the country from us, but that's how we're doing it. And it costs us more money than the Postal Service, but I think it's going to extend our lives by several years because the Postal Service is just a complete disaster. So, but it's really cool because we do still utilize the Postal Service for dry goods. So if you order a filter or fish food, we use the Postal Service, and we very rarely have problems except for the one that I'm getting ready to tell you about. You know, the bulk of our orders go through UPS now, but the ones that are dry goods go the Postal Service, and it's not an issue. It's been very doable, but if they're a little bit late with snails and things like that, depending on the time of year, it can be a disaster when it comes to living things. So we're using UPS for that now. Feel really good about it. Especially like we started this 2 weeks ago. So if you've ordered from us in the last couple of weeks, plants or snails, you've received them from UPS. And it did not take long before we realized, oh, we definitely made the right choice here. And I'd like to explain that because it's Pepsi this time. Everybody asks for some reason. Is North Carolina, because Pepsi was created here? Are we the only ones that get the gold cans or something? Every time I drink these, people wonder what I'm drinking out of gold cans. There's something that's going on that Mountain Dew is not superior, because if I drink Mountain Dew, I don't know where you live, Tim, but I know you live close. I would probably be bouncing off the walls so much that you would hear it from wherever you live. Mountain Dew messes me up. It's delicious, but it messes me up. Anyway, stop distracting me. There's something that's going on, and I don't think people realize it's going on. I don't think people realize the ramifications or the potential devastation that could be caused by this. And it is Amazon's fault. But don't worry, I'm not getting ready to go on an Amazon rant. I promise I'm not going to do an Amazon rant. It's not about Amazon, but I do believe Amazon kind of set this up. Quick story. We had a customer order from us. I'm not naming names because I'm not mad at this guy. I don't like what he did, but I'm not, I'm not a call somebody out by name kind of person anyway. Customer ordered from us, and it was his 14th order off of our website. 13 orders, went great. On the 14th, he ordered 3 products, and all dry goods. And this was before we switched things over to UPS. Ordered them on a Saturday. We shipped them on the next available shipping day. Lisa and I work 7 days a week, but we don't ship on Saturdays and Sundays because we don't have any place to take them. I mean, there's nowhere for us to take them to get shipped out on Saturdays. Otherwise, sometimes we would, depending on what time of year it is. So we don't ship on Saturdays and Sundays. Most people don't. I think Amazon and Walmart are like the only companies that do. So if somebody orders on Saturday, we're going to ship it out on Monday. And that's exactly what happened here. Shipped them out on Monday. And, right now we're dealing with about 300 orders a week. It's just Lisa and I, and we're shipping out 300 to 350 orders a week. That's a lot for 2 people. And one of the things that we're not capable of doing is monitoring every single order every step of the way to make sure that it's been delivered. I can see it on my dashboard on Shopify. I can see all of the orders that are still in transit and stuff like that. But I have no way of knowing the status of every single one of them. This was February 20th that this package was shipped out. And I didn't hear anything about it until, I don't know when it was, a few days ago, a week ago, who knows at this point. With everything going on my mind is just, I received 4. I hate when people represent the number with their fingers. I don't know why I hate that, but I always do it too. If people are like number 5 and then before, I hate that. Anyway, I did it myself. 4 1-star reviews on our website. 1 for each one of the products that he ordered, and 1 for keepfishkeeping.com. The whole site, you can go there and do a review of your overall experience with our website. And 4 1-star reviews. Now, I don't like it. I wouldn't do it. But I can kind of understand giving a 1-star review to keepfishkeeping.com, the overall experience. Even though anyone in that situation, if I was in that situation, I would look at it and I would say, well, they did everything right. I mean, they shipped it exactly when they said they were going to. They sent me the tracking information, and it got lost in transit. It's not their fault. But this has to be one of those people that says, well, you utilize the Postal Service, therefore you are responsible for whatever mistakes they make. And I I don't necessarily agree with that, but I kind of could get behind that. But to review the 3 products as 1 stars, I think that's dirty. And I don't think this individual is the only one that does that. In fact, I know he's not, because I got another one like 3 days later from a different person, exact same scenario, where this person ordered 7 times. And I'm not making this up. I got all the receipts. Why would I make this up? I think this was the 7th order for this particular customer. Always orders ram's horn snails from us. My assumption is that this person is buying these ram's horns as food for a fish. We don't tell people they're not allowed to do that. We sell you fish. You do whatever you want to do with them. I don't care. We assume pretty much everybody that orders bladder snails, that's what they're doing. They're feeding it to puffers or something like that. So if somebody's ordering ram's horn snails from us regularly, we assume they are ordering them as food for something. And every single one of them was fine. But the 7th one got delayed by the Postal Service. And again, these happened after we made the switch, but it kind of solidified our decision. Like, okay, we made the right decision. The Postal Services was delayed by 4 days. I did it again, 4 days. And I guess some of the snails didn't survive. I don't know. But again, 1-star review for the product, 1-star review for KG Tropical or keepfishkeeping.com. Folks, the reason why I bring this up is not just for me. I'm serious. I mean, everything that I talk about all the time, whenever I talk about Amazon and all of those things, it's always what it's doing to the industry. It's not what it does to me. When people punish a retailer or punish a manufacturer for something that another entity did, that's dirty. That doesn't reflect on the product at all. If that's not a good analogy. I've been trying all week to think of the right analogy. And here's the only one I can think of. You go to Jiffy Lube and you get an oil change and you pull up to the guy and you say, okay, I need a Mobil 1 synthetic oil change on here, which always costs like double, which is ridiculous. And my truck requires that, which is why I always change my own oil, except when it's really hot. But I've only taken it to Jiffy Lube one time. Give me a break. But you take it to Jiffy Lube, you pull in, you say, I need Mobil 1 synthetic. And they say, okay, no problem. Beat it. Wait in the lobby and we'll wait for you. Or we'll come get you when it's done. They come and get you. Mr. Hudson, your truck is ready. Thank you very much. Pay $200 and something stupid dollars. And then I leave. And then like a week later, all of a sudden, boom, my truck blows up. And I take it to the mechanic and say, what's going on with my truck? And they say, well, it ain't got no oil in it. I know what's wrong with it. It ain't got no gas in it. But no, it ain't got no oil in it. Oh, did they forget to put the cap on? No, the cap's on. There's no leaks at all. Everything. It's a brand new truck. It's only got 26,000 miles on it. Did you recently have an oil change? Yeah, took it to Jiffy Lube. Well, they forgot to put oil in it. Imagine how dumb it would be if I went on Mobil 1's website and gave Mobil 1 a 1-star review when what actually happened was Jiffy Lube screwed up and didn't put any oil at all in it. There's nobody that would say, yeah, that makes sense. You should definitely punish Mobil 1 because they didn't put it in there. It had nothing to do with the failure of your motor, but come on. And the CJ products that this gentleman ordered should absolutely not have been punished for that. It was the Postal Service's fault. It doesn't reflect on the product at all. So what I'm saying to you, anyone watching this right now, please understand. I understand if you go to Amazon, you don't really see a human being behind what you're doing. You can type up, I hate this. This is terrible. Jeff Bezos is ruining the world and I hate him. And you don't really, you know, Jeff Bezos is never going to see that. You know, probably no one is going to see it. It's all going to be handled by AI, and who cares? And they'll probably delete it. Like I had my comments deleted when I commented on that Amazon dealer that's using my picture in their product page. But anyway, you don't look at that as somebody's going to be affected by this. When you put up that review on Amazon Plus, you go to Amazon and there's 27,000 reviews for whatever product. You go to my website and there's maybe 40. So a 1-star review is a killer. I mean, that's an average killer. There's a lot of products on my website that don't have hardly any reviews. And it's not because people are jerks. It's because, you know, we're a small business. We don't do a ton of business. I mean, I feel like we do, geez, but you know, we're a small business. We're probably the equivalent of a mom and pop fish store as far as the amount of businesses, the amount of customers that we serve is probably somewhere around that. So we're not this major multi-billion-dollar corporation that's handling this kind of thing. So fraudulent reviews like that are a problem. And I say fraudulent because you can't review a product that you don't have. You didn't get it. It sucks that you didn't get it. The Postal Service screwed the pooch on this one, but you didn't get the product. You can't review it as a 1-star if you didn't get it. You can't review Gordon Ramsay's restaurant as a 1-star restaurant if you didn't eat there. Same thing. That's enough. I just think that a lot of people don't. Most people are more likely to give negative reviews. That is so true. People are not usually chomping at the bit to tell about the amazing experience they had. And I'm not either, so I get it. It's usually the other way around. We have to entice people to do reviews by offering them discounts and stuff like that. If you've ordered from us, you've gotten that email, you know. I mean, it's what we have to do to get reviews out there. But yeah, it troubles me that a product gets punished because the Postal Service lost the package. That's just ridiculous. Again, the star rating for keepfishkeeping.com is a cumulative thing. It's your overall experience. And if the Postal Service loses your package, your overall experience was a bad one. And I understand that one, but not for the product. And like I said, I'm getting all these notifications for reviews that are going up on our website. Are y'all doing that? That's hilarious if you are. And also very, very kind of you. Just don't do 1-stars. But no, I mean, if you get a product and you hate it, it doesn't work, it's broken, you want to give it a bad review, I can't fault anybody for something like that. But if you didn't get it, the problem is not with the product. The problem is with either us or with the Postal Service. And here's, pardon my language, here's the bitch of this whole thing. The gentleman did finally email me, and we had a conversation back and forth, and I said, you know, I'm going to ship you another one, a whole other order. If it doesn't by some kind of miracle show up to you on Monday, which was this last Monday, I'm going to ship another one, and I'm going to ship it by way of UPS. I didn't tell him that, but I knew I was going to do that. And so I did. And, I thought for a minute that one got lost too. What ended up happening was, what had happened was, the UPS, for whatever dumb reason, handed it off to the Postal Service. Here they go again, the Postal Service again. And so when I went to check the tracking on it, it said UPS does not have the package. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I dropped it off on Monday. I called the hub that we drop it off at. I'm like, what's going on? They're like, I don't know. The lady looked into it, called me back, and she said, they passed it off to the Postal Service. And I said, why? And I don't know. And, so yeah, it's not lost. It's supposed to be delivered tomorrow, and that's going to be a beautiful thing. But, I got scared there for a minute because I thought it was another one lost. Okay. Do we have people complaining that I'm not talking about fish? I'm talking about... Okay, hippie Colleen, come on now. Hippie Colleen, that is those kind of comments are the ones that will make me talk this entire stream about nothing but anything that has nothing to do with fish. Least favorite comment ever. And you're a channel member. You should know that about me. I can't stand when people say, can we talk about fish? I'm talking about the fish industry. I'm talking about us as human beings, what we need to be better at. Consider big picture when you're putting up reviews. And if it's unfair, that's shameful. UPS does that all the time. Yeah, that is a surprise. That was a surprise to me. I did not see that coming, but yeah, that was tough. But anyway, it's going to be delivered tomorrow and everything's going to be A-okay. At least that's what I hope. So let's appease the one person in the comment or in the chat that wants to hear about fish. Hopefully that person's gone now and won't hear it. Wouldn't that be funny? But we're actually not even going to be talking about fish at all. We're going to be talking about fish tanks. Because that's what this episode's all about. And that person said, I'm 45 minutes in and you haven't talked about fish yet. And the stream's only been on for 30 minutes. What did I title this stream? Petsmart / Petco tanks versus custom versus DIY. My wife might be ailing at the moment, but she is the one that came up with this idea. She said to me yesterday, she was like, I'm not going to be up to streaming tomorrow. And I said, okay, well then you're in big trouble. You need to come up with a topic for me. And can we please talk about pizza? I could talk about pizza all day long. I had to have Pizza Hut today because our mom and pop pizza place that we get from every week is closed this week for some reason. I don't know. I hope everything's okay. But had to have Pizza Hut, which I don't hate. It's fine. But she came up with the idea, my beautiful wife, talking about the pros and cons to the different types of tanks that are out there for people, whether they be store-bought that you can go right now to the store and buy, or custom or DIY. Now, I've been in this game for a very, very long time. 30 lots of years. 93 to now. 32 years I've been in this game. I've had every kind of tank imaginable except for acrylic or DIY. I'm surrounded by both custom and store-bought. I'm sitting here in a room right now with two 125 gallons that are store-bought. They're probably Marine Lands, but I don't know. 125s and two 75s. These you can go to a Petsmart right now and buy those. And then I've got the three 240s, one of which is Planet aquariums. The other two are custom aquariums. This is a custom aquarium. And then the goldfish tank is a custom aquarium also. And when I say custom aquarium, I don't only mean a custom one, but it's also built by Custom Aquariums. CustomAquariums.com. Longtime supporter of this channel, and probably my favorite company in the whole wide world. So, sure, I'm a little bit biased here, but I'm not necessarily going to be doing a commercial for Custom Aquariums. What I'm going to talk about here today it's true with all custom manufacturers. You will want to do your due diligence because they all do things a different way. I saw Ben Ochart is in the chat, And I know he has dealt with glass cages. Correct me if I'm wrong, Ben. But I think they are a Tennessee company, and you're there in Tennessee. Makes a lot of sense. I've had a couple of conversations with them a long time ago. Seem like great people over there, and they build amazing glass boxes. Planet Aquariums builds amazing glass boxes. But the bulk of my experience with custom tanks is from Custom Aquariums. But let's talk about the Petsmart / Petco / I suppose you could say Walmart. The brand, the stores that you can go to and just pick up a tank off the shelf. Never mind. Asked and answered. When I see Whips World, I all of a sudden... Okay, what's going on here? Anyway, I'm going to stop because then I get involved in stuff and I get sidetracked and I say mean things to channel members, and I don't mean to do that, but it's like you say something mean to me, I should be able to say something mean to you. What do you get? What are the pros for going? And listen, folks, I'm going to say PetSmart and Petco. I understand you have Pets Plus. Tractor Supply has a pet store thing, which I've never been to, but we have one. We have one local to us. I love Tractor Supply, but I've never been in the place that sells aquarium stuff. We have a Pets Plus, we have a Petco, and then we have Walmart, all in one shopping plaza area, marketplace thing. And you could go buy a glass box at any one of those places right now. Most likely, if you go to a Walmart, you're going to end up with like a 10, maybe a 5 gallon. The larger ones are going to be probably at PetSmart. And I guess Pets Plus too would do that. But for this conversation, I'm going to be referring to all of those as PetSmart, Petco. What are the pros of buying a store-bought tank, something that you can just go pick off the shelf? The number one is cost. I mean, if you really, spoiler alert, if you really analyze things, you can go to that place and buy a warranted 55-gallon aquarium, I promise you, for cheaper than you can build one. I mean, to buy the glass, to have it cut, to have it polished, to buy a frame from somewhere, we'll get into all of that, but to buy all of the stuff to build a 55-gallon tank, I promise you're not going to save money over just going to the store and buying a 55. So cost is huge. Depending on where you are, depending on what time of year it is, you're going to save substantially. When we're talking about anything smaller than 55 gallons, I'll say it to your face. I don't think it makes sense to DIY them or to order them custom. And I know the people at Custom Aquariums very well. And I was just talking to one last week, one of the guys there. If somebody called them up and said, can you build me a 10 gallon? They would be like, really? They'll do it. But they would be like, why would you do that? What? You know you're going to spend 5 times more. You can go buy one for $10 4 times a year at Petco. Like, why would you do that? But so it doesn't make sense economically to get anything 55 or smaller custom, except for one thing, which we're going to get into here. But cost is a big thing. And for new fish keepers, I've never heard of a brand new fish keeper that isn't a rich person that ordered a big, massive custom aquarium from Custom Aquariums or anyone. I've never heard of that. Now, there are super rich people that like Brett Raymer and them took care of that. I'm rich and I got $1 million budget and I want a fish tank. That happens. But that's not somebody that's a hobbyist. That's somebody that wants it in their house as a showpiece. They're going to have someone take care of it for them and all of that. So it's not, that's a different thing. They're not hardcore fish hobbyists. And Lisa did send me a video recently of Pete Davidson, apparently while he was in rehab, got an aquarium at his house. And I wonder how long it's going to take for Corefish 12G to go out there to Pete Davidson's house. How cool would that be? I'm a fan of Pete Davidson. Not really a Saturday Night Live fan, but I'm a fan of him, and I'd go. I don't know if he lives in Staten Island still or if he's an LA guy. He's probably, I'm assuming, in New York. So Pete, if you're watching, you just got your first aquarium. You want Lisa and I to swing by. We can't tell you really anything about it because it's a saltwater and we don't know anything about that. But just to have the opportunity to meet you and see your tank and make a video about it, let me know. We'll swing by next time we're in New York. You know, you'll have to work on our schedule because I know you ain't got nothing going on. You're not working Saturday Night Live and making movies and doing voice work for animated movies and all. I know you're not busy. Jeez, that's a joke, folks. There's a little thing called sarcasm. Like I said, I am a fan of Pete Davidson. The other thing that store-bought tanks are going to give you that custom will also is a warranty. You take that tank home, you set it up, and a month later it starts leaking. They're going to take care of that for you. And usually when it comes to something like a Petsmart or a Petco, they would just tell you, all right, just bring it in and we'll swap it out. I mean, I've heard that story many, many times. It's not convenient because it's like, what am I supposed to do with my fish while I'm doing you got to figure that out. But hey, nothing in this hobby is easy. The only thing that's easy is feeding fish. Everything else is complicated and disaster can happen. But cost, warranty, and ease is the other thing that PetSmart Petco tanks are definitely going to have going for them. Lisa and I have done it more than once in the 15 years that we've been keeping fish together. We have had to go to the store in an emergency situation and buy a tank. Lisa's first tank was an emergency tank. She wanted an arowana. I told her it was a bad idea because I already had one. They don't usually mix well. Sometimes it can work, but sometimes it can be disaster. She said, I get what I want. She bought it with her. And it turned out to be a disaster. We ran out to Petsmart, I believe, 9 o'clock that night. It was like 5 minutes before they closed, and bought her a 55-gallon, which was only temporary. But that's one of the nice things about this kind of a tank is you can go to the store. You can just decide on impulse, I'm going to go get a new tank, and you go buy a 40 breeder and you're back in 2 hours and you got a tank. You're not going to do that with DIY. You're not going to do that getting custom. Joey Mullen has probably built 1,000 tanks in his day. You know, he wouldn't be able to whip up a tank that fast. He'll tell you he can because he'll tell you that he's invincible, but let's be realistic. It's probably not going to happen. So cost, warranty, and ease. 3 pros, but what are the cons? As I said, when we're talking about tanks that you can readily go and buy from a Petco, PetSmart, we're really talking about 75 gallons and smaller. You may go into one every once in a while and they have a 90 or a 125, but they're almost always going to have the 75s and under. But that means that's what you're limited to. You only have those to choose from. And if you're in a situation like we're going to talk about with the custom, that might not be ideal. It might work, but it's not exactly what I wanted, but you're limited to what they have available. Maybe you get lucky and it is the Petco sale and they have an abundance of all the sizes. I was introduced to a tank size that I never even knew existed back when we went and bought the snail tanks from Petco. We bought like 32 at one time. The 60 breeder. I never even knew that tank existed. It's like a 75-gallon tank, but a little shorter. It's a really, really cool size tank. You can describe it as a 75 that's a little shorter or a 40 breeder that's a little longer. I don't know why they call them breeders. I don't know where they got that from, but that's a really cool tank size. I like the 60 breeder. I I don't know the dimensions, so don't ask. Look it up. But the point is, you're limited to what's there. And if you have a very specific spot that you want your tank, if they don't have it, then what are you going to do? And it might not even be something that's even made by the manufacturers in that size that you need. So that's when you have to move up to custom. Now, I understand a lot of you are going to say this, and you are all 100% right. John's pretty biased when it comes to custom tanks. Yes, I am. Of course I am. Because I'm spoiled. I mean, it's just the truth. You want me to lie to you? I am spoiled to have relationships with these companies, and they spoil me. And I'm very, very fortunate for that. But I'm going to tell you about these things. Just this is what I think. I'm not being paid to say this. Nobody asked me to do this except for my wife. These are my genuine thoughts on this topic. So there you go. The first quite obvious pro for custom tanks, I'm going to refer to them as custom aquariums because that's what they are. There's also a company named Custom Aquariums, so you just got to deal with that. You can get, when you have that size, that specific size, you can get your tank exactly made for that size. I think they need a forgiveness of like a quarter of an inch, something very, very small, like they can build it within a quarter inch or something like that. Obviously, that's the custom in custom. Whatever it is that you need, you might have this perfect size, this one little niche in your house, and it's 68 inches. Well, that's not going to fit a 72, obviously. And are there any 5 foot long tanks? Maybe, I don't know. But a 5 foot would be, you'd have these big gaps on either side. A 4 foot tank would just look dumb. It would look way too small in a space that's 68 inches wide. So what do? Well, that's where a custom tank will come in. Whatever it is that you need. I think custom aquariums can go up to 10 feet. I know other companies can go bigger, and I know companies that, but I should say that differently. I could totally be wrong here. And if I am, you'll tell me, and that's fine. I don't mind being wrong. I think 10 feet might be the max for glass, or it might just be 10 foot is the maximum for custom aquariums glass. I don't know. I think he said his biggest he could do is 10 foot by 4 foot by 3 feet high. Something like that. And I was actually at Custom Aquarium's facility in Wisconsin and saw a tank that size. And I can't tell you how I was feeling because this video would get age restricted. It was the most glorious thing I've ever seen. 10 by 4 by 3. If you watch the video that I did there, which was like it was 2019, and it would have been later in the year in 2019. The young lady that is their siliconer, she's one of their custom builders. She's actually siliconing it from the inside. She's in the tank. That is the tank. I actually got into the tank. No, I didn't. I was right behind it. She was in it, and I was filming her as she was going through and putting this big, massive blob of silicone across. And I don't mean to say that as if it was like she was doing it wrong. No, that's what they have to do for a tank that size with that much weight. And, it's pretty fascinating. And that size tank is incredible. It's something like you would expect to see at like a casino or a restaurant or something like that. It was, and ever since then I've wanted a 10 foot long tank, but, yeah, Brent, that's a good way of spelling it. Yeah, that was fascinating. And the smell, I love that chemically caulking smell. I hate people who pronounce it caulk, even though that's the appropriate way of saying it. I watch a lot of videos, home improvement videos and stuff like that, and they'll be like, I caulked the window, and I'm like, come on, man, just say caulk. What's your problem? Why you gotta really put that emphasis on the L? Caulk. Give me a break. Talk like a normal person. But anyway, I think if you're going to go over 10 feet, you have to go acrylic. I could be wrong. Obviously, there are a lot of tanks out there that are way bigger than 10 feet. And I think those are acrylic. I do say caulk as a woman. Okay, see. All right, Zen. Now that makes sense. I'm going to say what you're typing because I didn't call it cack. I'm not from Boston and say cack. Caulk. It's like C-A-W-K, caulk. Not caulk. I don't pronounce it like you pronounce. You know what I mean, Zen. I don't pronounce it like that. Oh, Brent Russell, thank you. There's your weekly gifted membership. I appreciate that, my friend. Very nice. Oh, and I did miss some, didn't I? Not happy with Petco. They got rid of Aquarium. Did they really? Went with the China brand. I was not aware of that, Andrew Moore. That is news to me. I haven't been in a Petco since we bought those snail tanks, so I didn't know that. The problem with store-bought is the wood frame. Marine Josh, are you talking about the ones that it's a plastic frame but it looks like wood? If that's what you're talking about, I agree 100%. That looks like, I mean, it looks like something out of the 80s. That's what I'm going to say. I have one. I don't know which one it is. One of my 125s was given to me by a friend, and it had that wood trim, and I painted it black. So I agree with you 100%. But where were we here? Whatever size you want, that's what you can get when you go custom from any of the custom manufacturers. That's kind of the point. Custom. Very prone to swelling with water leaks, especially for new corners that may make more mistakes. Really? Like real wood? If somebody's out there making wood frames for aquariums, that's just dumb. That makes no sense. I've never seen that. So if that's happening, Marine Josh, those people are stupid. Imagitarium is the brand. Well, that's Petco's brand. So it probably is manufactured in China. And Petsmart has top fin. But I thought they still carried Aquarium and sometimes Marineland. Maybe that's just the kits. I don't know. But when we went and bought those snail tanks from Petco, I swear they were Aquarium. In fact, I know for a fact they were because they all had the sticker on it. That's so annoying. Why do you do that, Aquarium? The big giant sticker that takes a half an hour to get off and you got to use a razor blade. That's so dumb. Come on. Maybe that's why Petco's not carrying them anymore. I don't know. But I'm absolutely certain that they were Aquarium tanks that we got there. Anyway, not only are custom tanks whatever size you want, obviously they do have standard sizes too, but you can get whatever custom size you want. And I'm going to speak for Custom Aquariums here, the company customaquariums.com. I don't know of any others. If they do this, they may, but I don't know. Custom Aquariums actually has a really cool configurator. Is what they call it. You can go on their website, design your tank. They'll show it to you right there, and they'll give you a quote for the price right there. You don't even have to talk to anybody, which is very cool. And so you can, mess around and make it whatever size you want, whatever height, whatever length, whatever width, again, as long as it fits within their maximums, which I think is 10 by 4 by 3. But anyway, the other thing on top of getting whatever size you want is they're just built so differently than the big store-bought ones. If you think about, I'm not saying aquarium tanks are bad. I'm not saying top fin tanks or Imagitarium or any of those that you can buy marine land. I'm not saying any of those are bad. I think they're fine. I think as far as quality goes, I think they're all pretty much the same, and any of them is perfectly fine. We've got a bunch of them throughout our entire property. The snail tanks, the 10 gallons that Lisa has in there, we've got all of them. And they're all fine. But these are tanks that are manufactured in a big factory. They're going down a line and the people are going, putting the caulking in. I said caulk. I didn't pronounce it with the L. And they're doing it all quick, and then they slap the frame on there, and they're building these things really, really fast. Whereas a custom tank, I don't care who the company is that's making them, like I can speak from experience from custom aquariums, they have one guy whose whole job is drilling holes in glass. That's all he does, is drill holes in glass. There's another person, and I think these jobs rotate. I don't think they do the same thing every day. I think they rotate around so people don't get bored. But while I was there, there was one person operating the gigantic CNC that cuts the glass. So, and I got all this on video. Huge suction cups on a huge crane-like machine, picks up the glass, brings it over, puts it on a table. The table cuts all of the stuff, and then they crack it, and they do all of that. And then they move it over to another guy who does all of the polishing, or girl, there was both working there. And they polish the edges. And on custom aquariums, they bevel the edge, which is amazing. I love that. And then once it's polished and beveled, then it goes to the assemblers who actually put the box, or no, it would go to the drill guy. If they need holes drilled, the guy is going to drill them exactly where they're supposed to go, which the customer has specified, the exact size that the customer asked for. They're going to do all of that, and then they're going to assemble it. And then there's another guy, and I think I understood this correctly. This is not a rotating position. This guy is doing this all day, every day. It's all he does is builds the metal frames. These are aluminum frames on custom aquariums tanks. They're handmade. They're hand cut to fit the tank. They're not mass produced in some kind of a thing, and then it just has to fit. No, he's taking the tank. He's taking the aluminum pieces and cutting them perfectly to fit that tank. They're bolted together. It's fascinating to watch them do that. And so there's so many people involved, and all of these people are specialized in that particular task, and they all do a great job. And it's all done by hand except for the machines that do the, you know what I'm saying, but there's a person operating it. It's not some big robot assembly line or anything like that. With that, you get a much more robustly built tank. The frames are beefier. That's not just a thin plastic frame. Like I said, that's a bolted together aluminum frame. The glass is almost always way thicker. I don't think, again, custom aquariums is the only place I've been. I don't think they stock glass thinner than 1/4 inch. And so that's another thing that would make a smaller tank be more expensive. It's like, and some of it's 3/8 and 1/2 inch. You're going to build a 55 gallon out of 1/2 inch thick glass. First of all, the tank's going to weigh 3,000 pounds. And second of all, that is way overkill for that size of a tank. But anyway, I'm getting off topic there, but, everything is more robust. The silicone, I don't even need to call it caulk because it's not. It's silicone. The silicone that's used in the corners, the way they apply the silicone is fascinating to watch. Again, I got this on video. The glass pieces actually have a very small gap between them. And they do that so that the silicone gets between the two panes. I didn't know that before I went there. That was really cool. They silicone these tanks in 2 stages. One is gluing the panes together. And then the second one is putting the big beads in there that really, the first stage connects everything. And the second stage kind of builds it all up and makes it 100% waterproof. And then there's the third caulking stage, silicone stage, which is attaching the frames. So, and again, all of this is done by hand, by people, not machines, not robots. And so that, I'm going to jump ahead here, but that is the thing that leads to the con in anything custom from any company, and that is the cost. Where you go from a store-bought, inexpensive, still expensive, but not like go get a second mortgage. When you go up to custom, everything just goes way up. But with the bigger frames, with the thicker glass, with the beveled edges and the polished edges and all of these things, and the clarity of the glass, they're getting a higher quality glass, and you can even upgrade that to like a superior quality glass. You're not going to be able to do all of that stuff with the store-bought tanks. So all of that comes at a higher cost, though. I mean, and you know that. You know that. If you drive by a Chevy dealership and you see one of those Silverados that's got a Hellcat in it and it's lifted and it has a roll bar in it and it's got all the lights and all, Chevy didn't roll that out of their factory. You know that a company took that, they bought it, they did all those mods to it, and then they sold it to the dealership. You know that Silverado, which you should buy a GMC, but that Silverado is not going to be what a regular Silverado would cost. It's going to be priced way higher because of all of those custom things. It's a Silverado that got made better. And this is the same thing with custom aquariums. So yes, they're more expensive, but there's a reason for that. And all of the reasons justify that higher expense. But I'm not done with the, okay. Well, there's one more thing that I have down here on my notes for the pros for custom. And that is, and again, I am only speaking here for custom aquariums. I don't know what Planet does. I don't know what Glass Cages does. I don't know what any of the companies do other than custom aquariums, but you can't really see it, but there is a 1/2 inch thick foam pad right there. We have a stand manufactured by Custom Aquariums, that foam pad, and then the tank is sitting on that. In that condition right there, which probably doesn't apply to me because Mark knows this is not level, but in this condition on the Custom Aquariums stand with the pad, this tank is guaranteed for life. I've had this tank since 2019. Was it 2019? I got this one before I got the Yellow Lab tank. I think it was 2019, and then the Yellow Lab tank was 2020 or 2021. So I've had it for 6 years. If this thing sprung a leak and it wasn't due to it being unlevel like it is, or mishandling, or maybe like 400 pounds of rocks stacked up in it, something that would void the warranty, as long as none of that's happening in the condition that it's in right now, they would fix it. How are they going to fix it? I don't know, because I've never had to have one fixed, so I don't know. I do know this, and I don't think they would have a problem with me talking about this. I talked about this last week. I had a pinhole leak in my very first 240 that I got. I got that tank in 2016. So we're coming up on almost 10 years that I've had that tank. A pinhole, and this was in like 2021. It was 1 drop of water. I'll tell you how slow the leak was. Nothing got wet. Water came out of this pinhole so slow that the only reason I noticed it was the white streak coming down. You know that white streak, that calcium buildup? I saw that and I'm like, what the hell is that? And I wiped it off, and then like 2 weeks later it was back. And that's when I figured out, oh, there's just an itty bitty thing. So I called them up and I was like, hey, I don't know what's happening here. And they're like, well, here's how we would like for you to handle it. And I have a relationship with them. They wouldn't do this with just a regular customer, but I have a relationship with them, and I have for 10 years. So they sent me the silicone that they use because I told them, don't panic over this. I mean, it's the smallest thing. And they were like, yeah, but that could lead to bigger things. I said, I know. I asked them, just send me a tube of the caulk. I think they sent me 4 because you got to put it on thick. And I ended up just resealing that entire thing. And it hasn't been a problem since. I mean, it was no big deal. They did not do that simply because I have a relationship with them. They would have done that with anybody because that's their guarantee. But it has to be on their stand with their pad. I had this tank when I first got it in my garage, and it's only ever been in 2 places since it's been in my possession, sitting where it is right now and sitting in my garage in Virginia. It is an MFer to move this thing. I'm not going to lie to you. You could expect, I mean, it's 360. It's a big one. Where was I going with that? Oh, I was going to, and this would have never worked, and I'm so glad we didn't even try. I was going to try to move this big bastard down into my basement in Virginia. And I got to tell you, I got a lot of things that I'm so glad I did not do. And that's one of them, because that would have been the biggest disaster. I don't know how it would have ever happened. I'm going to tell you another thing, and this is the God's honest truth. This tank, ever since it has been in my possession, has never been lifted by anyone. When I got it from we had to pick it up at like a warehouse. They picked it up with a forklift and slid it into the back of my truck. And my truck drove like this. This is all on video. Truck drove like this all the way home. When we got home, we took the stand, put it at the back of my truck, slid the tank off onto the stand, and then slid it all the way into the garage. Again, all of this is on video. You just have to look it up. My daughter's ex-boyfriend is in there, so it'll be a little awkward. Actually, there's 2 ex-boyfriends in those videos, but who cares? But it was never lifted. It never needed to be lifted. It was slid every time. When we moved it out and moved it back down here, same thing. We slid the entire thing. It slid quite well on my garage floor. Slid it out to the edge of the garage, slid it right into the U-Haul truck. So it's never been lifted. But my idea, and then we got it out the same way. Whipsworld was here. He can attest to it. He helped quite a bit on this. Pulled the truck up. We slid it out of the U-Haul truck into the back of my truck. I drove my truck around to the front of the fish house. We slid it off of that onto the stand, and then we brought it in, slid it in. I mean, it's never been lifted. But I had this bright idea that I was going to build a stand in my basement, and we were going to carry that around the back of the house, which I would have just driven it around in the back of my truck. And then we were going to take it down the 10 stairs, concrete stairs, stairwell, underground stairwell, into my basement. Are you watching Reacher season 3? You know the Dutch giant. That's like, he's the Dutch giant bodybuilder. I forget his name. I think his name is, Hans or something like that. He's 7'2". He looks like the Big Show. He's a big giant. He's literally a giant. I think if you had 8 dudes that size, they wouldn't be able to carry that tank down into that basement. I don't know what I was thinking. Ted Judy came to my house. He used to work for Custom Aquariums, and I told him what I wanted to do, and he was like, good luck with that. Because there wasn't no way. We were going to have to turn it sideways because it wouldn't fit through the door. Down the stairs, no. But the reason why I'm bringing all this up is because I built a stand for it, and my stand would have held it. But he said, and as a matter of fact, Ted might have even said it on this live stream. I think he even said, well, you know, you're going to lose your warranty if you do that. And I said, you know, I hadn't even thought of that. And I think that might have been the conversation where I made the decision, okay, we're just not doing that. And it's, yeah, I'm glad I didn't, because if there was if it was magic and we got it down there, I don't know how we'd have got it back up. The people that I had that day helping me move on the Virginia end were a bunch of strong dudes. I don't know if they were that strong though. Stupid. But if the conditions are right, meaning it's on their manufactured stand with the pad is critical, because if there is a slight variation in the stand, the foam pad will compensate for that. So it's not just padding. It actually compensates for variations, though slight. This stand is metal and it's welded and it's pretty much the same weight as the tank. It is a beast. As long as it's sitting that way, this thing's guaranteed forever. Forever. So you don't get that with store-bought stuff. So I went through whatever size you want. It's built much more robust with more premium product materials, and the warranties are their life. There's even a sticker. It's still on there. You can't see it, but it's right there that says Lifetime Aquariums. So you're not going to get that with a store-bought tank. But the cons, there are a few. I got 3 written down here, one of which we've already talked about. The premium materials, the hand manufacturing, there's significantly more cost than something that's store-bought. I've had people reach out to me and say, I want a 125. Should I go custom? And I say, well, what are the dimensions that you're looking at? 72 by 18 by 22 or whatever it is. And I'm like, well, that's the exact standard size that you can go to Petco and buy. They're like, yeah. Well, then why do you want to go custom? Like, it just seems a little excessive to me. And maybe it's a peace of mind thing. Like maybe it's bragging rights. Maybe you just want it 1 inch taller or 1 inch longer. I don't know. But, you know, you're going to pay so much more money for that. And it's not just the tank. It's the shipping. They have to compensate for a crate to be built around it. They don't just put a strap around it and ship it. They build a crate around the glass box. It's a big deal to get these things shipped out. And that was one of the other cons, is shipping can be a bear. And I don't mean just moving it like Whips World helped us with, moving it from Virginia to North Carolina. He was on the North Carolina end. He was sitting here waiting for us for like 8 hours. I felt bad. Him and Eric Furlow. He offered to cut my grass while he was waiting. Isn't he a nice guy? Moving them sucks, but I'm not just talking about that. Even receiving them, it's a big thing. Because for one, there is not, to my knowledge, a lift gate truck that extends past 8 feet. I know there's car carriers and stuff like that, but I'm sorry. Custom aquarium manufacturers are not using shipping companies that have car lifts on them. So, and those are not, those are meant to have things drive on, not be slid on. I don't even know that a lift like that would work, but lift gates are restricted to 8 feet and smaller. I might have just told you wrong. It might even be 6 feet and smaller, because they have to be able to turn the tank sideways, because lift gates are usually only like 5 feet from the back of the truck extended all the way out. So they have no way of using a pallet jack and getting it out onto the lift gate without turning it sideways. And I don't think they can do that if the tank is over 6 feet. So if it's, and that is what it is. Every tank we've had delivered has been under 6 feet. And they were able to put it on the lift gate, except for this one. That's why we had to go to that warehouse and pick that up, because it's 8 feet. So that there's no way to do it on the lift gate. Custom aquariums, the way they do it is if it's 6 feet and under, they'll deliver it straight to your house, which is convenient, but it's also not always convenient, because the guy's going to call you and be like, all right, we're going to be there in 30 minutes. And you're like, what am I supposed to do? I don't have 12 people here to help me move it. So I've been lucky when I've received tanks. The first one, I just put it, the guy delivered it and just took it straight into my garage until I had people that could come over and help me carry it down into my basement. This one, we had to go get it. I had like 5 people with me, all of my kids basically, and a couple of nephews. The second 240 was the same thing. They dropped it off in my driveway and the guy just wheeled it up and put it in my garage, which is where it was going. So it was very convenient. And my UPS driver actually helped me pick it up and put it up onto the stand. So in a situation like that, it's perfectly fine. However, my Lisa's goldfish tank and the 240 from Planet, those were very different. The Planet tank, the guy hit me up and I don't know what I was thinking. I didn't realize this was going to be a problem. My plan was to have him put it onto my trailer, but he was just like, I can back it up into your driveway. He was in a smaller truck, like a 26-foot truck. So he just backed into my driveway and dropped it right on my gravel driveway. All right. So I basically had to take it all apart. It was fine. My neighbor came over with a forklift, and it was fine. It all worked out. The goldfish tank, again, this is all on video. The Planet tank was on video too with my neighbor's forklift. The Planet tank, Mark from Aquariums Unlimited, you know what I mean? Aquariums Unlimited, and Doug and Greg, they all came down and they just hung out with us for like 4 hours until the truck showed up. We're very blessed to have friends like them. The point I'm trying to make is when you get something that it's a pallet that weighs 600 pounds, it's an event. Like, you've got to make big plans. You've got to make sure people are going to be available. You got to make sure you have plenty of help. It's not something you can do by yourself. I don't care if you do look like that guy on Reacher season 3, or just you look like Alan Richardson. You're not going to handle it by yourself. So you got to make a lot of preparations for that. You got to get people to drive for an hour and a half like Mark and Doug and Greg did. But once you get it, it is glorious, but it is a challenge to do it that way. Those are the only cons, really. The cost, I forgot about one. I got another one. And this is not bad. You should expect this, but it has to be brought up. And that's lead times. Again, if you decide you want a 125, there's probably a pet store within an hour of you that has one right now sitting on their floor that you can drive and get it, and within 2 hours be home. You and your wife can carry it in the house, or you and your husband can carry it in the house. You or your son, like 125s are heavy, but they're not like you got to look like Jack Reacher in order to be able to do it. You're not going to do that with custom. Occasionally there might be I know custom aquariums had one like this, where it was like a customer ordered it and then never took delivery of it. So it was sitting in their warehouse. This tank was actually a trade show display tank that they had sitting in their warehouse. If you went to the Aquatic Experience in 2019, you saw this tank. You have touched this tank because it was there in their booth, and they had a little drone scuba thing swimming around in it. It was really cool. So I was talking to them and they were like, yeah, we've got this one. I was looking for a 10-footer. And they said, we got this 8-footer. In fact, you saw it in New Jersey. And I was like, oh yeah, okay. And so they happened to have that there. So I got it pretty quick. But the other tanks that I've gotten, we've had to wait 8 to 10 weeks. And if you're going custom, you have a specific thing in mind that you want. The lead times are not going to bother you. You're not going to have it. It's not going to be delivered by Amazon Prime in 2 days. You know that. And so you kind of expect that. It's no surprise, but it had to be brought up. Now, I want to briefly touch on DIY because I'm not a fan. I'm not saying it can't be done. Joey Mullen has obviously proven that can be done, and it can be done quite well. My favorite tank, one of my favorite tanks, I mean, obviously his 2,000 gallon is absurd, but one of my favorite tanks that Joey did way, way back, and I remember talking to him when he was doing it, he broke down 2 125s and got the 4 6-foot panes and siliconed them to a plywood base. I think it was plywood base, and made that Stingray tank. Look it up on Joey's channel. That was an amazing tank sitting in the middle of the room. It was unbelievable. You can do really cool stuff like that. But Joey has been building aquariums for decades. Yeah, there was a time where he was building his first one, but the anxiety that would come with a DIY tank is too much for me. It's the reason why I don't do electrical work. I can change out switches and, change out lights and light fixtures and stuff like that. But I don't like anything that involves touching the breaker box. Like, I don't want to be anywhere near that thing. Is it because I don't know how to do it? No, I know how to do it. I've watched it done. I used to work in HVAC. I would be installing HVAC, and towards the end of, which is heating and air conditioning, towards the end of the job, the electricians would show up, and I knew those guys, and we would talk, and I would see what they were doing. I know how to do it, but I'm terrified of it, because if I run a plumbing pipe and it leaks, I'm pissed off because I've got water damage. If you have an electrical problem, you can burn the whole damn house down. And that terrifies me. So, and I have a friend that experienced that. His entire family was in the house. They got out, thankfully, but he did lose a dog. And the really weird thing about it, he was a professional electrician. But he didn't run the wires. I knew him because he was a customer at our fish store. Great guy. He actually did some wiring for me in my basement, but he bought a house. The previous owner had done some jerry-rigged electrical underneath their deck or something like that, and it was faulty, and it burnt his entire house down. That's why I don't do electrical, and that's why I won't build an aquarium. Because if I was going to build one, I'd be building something like this, something ridiculous. I'm not going to build a 55-gallon. 55-gallon blows up. Yeah, you're going to have one hell of a mess to clean up, but it's probably not going to, make your whole house fall down. But this, ooh, 7 times the amount of water. That's nightmare fuel right there. So that's the number one thing that keeps me from doing DIY. It doesn't bother Joey because he's done it so much and he knows what he's doing, and he's slow and he tests it and he makes sure he's doing it right. But that's just too much anxiety for me. But with DIY, same as custom, you can do whatever you want to do. I think one of the benefits to DIY, you wouldn't be able to get this with custom, but you could actually build the tank in place. That tank I was telling you about that Joey built in his basement. Or if I wanted a tank like this in my basement in Virginia, I don't have a basement now, but if I had a basement and I really wanted, you never need, but I really wanted a tank this size, you could cut the glass, or if it's that big, have it cut for you, and carry each pane down into the basement and build the tank down there. That's pretty cool. I still wouldn't do it, but you could do that. Cost is another thing. I just don't know if it's really going to save you a lot of money. What I tell everyone, because I am a do-it-yourselfer, I am in the process of remodeling my entire kitchen right now. You want to see that money pit? I already talked about it. I'm going to save a lot of money, but that's not why I'm doing it. I'm doing it because I'm doing it. I want exactly what I want. And I love walking through a room and every single thing I'm like, I did that. I built those doors. I built those 5 cabinets right there. I did that. I love that feeling. Now with that comes also, I screwed that up. Oh man, I put that on crooked. Oh, that's got a chip in it. You see the flaws that other people probably don't see. You're probably not going to see that on aquariums, but the pride of having done it yourself, that's a cool thing. It's certainly a cool thing to tell your friends. You see that aquarium right there? Your boy built that. I built that right there. Me. That's cool. I'm not into it, but if you are, that's cool. But I always tell people with whatever it comes to, don't do DIY if you think it's going to save you money. Now, my kitchen, what I'm doing to it, it would cost a lot. Probably $40,000. It's going to cost me under 10 when it's all said and done. So I'm saving substantially by doing that. But I also have professional experience in every single thing I'm doing. I was a custom cabinet maker for 10 years. I was a wood refinisher. I've never been a floor refinisher, but I was a refinisher and a wood repair technician for 20 years. So when I do my floors, it's not going to be that big of a deal. When I finish my island top, it's going to be no big deal. I've done this. People have paid me to do this. Countertops are the only thing I'm going to hire out because I can't cut granite or quartz or whatever it is that Lisa picks out. So that's going to be something that we have to hire out. But what I'm talking about is each individual thing. If you're one of those analytical people that really looks at every single little thing, you want to build a piece of furniture. I can almost guarantee you, if you go to, and I'm not talking about the affordable furniture places like IKEA and Ashley and stuff like that. We have both of those brands in our house. I'm not a furniture snob. I am, but I'm also not. But I also have Thomasville. I also have Nichols and Stone. I also have Bernhardt. Very expensive North Carolina brands. I got them at cost because I worked for the furniture store that sold it to me. Otherwise I wouldn't have it. I used to have an armoire. It got stolen. Long story. This thing was like 7 feet tall, 3.5 feet wide, and it was designed for either hanging clothes in or using as a entertainment center, which is what I used it for. Big doors that wrapped all the way around. This was a massive piece of furniture. And I forget if it was my nephew or somebody was over one day and they were like, could you build me one of those? And I'm like, no, just go buy it. And he's like, what do you mean? And I'm like, it would cost me more in materials to build that than what you can go and buy it for at the store. And this is a Thomasville piece of furniture. It's not cheap stuff. And he was like, I just don't understand. It was solid cherry. Like there's no particle board in it at all. There was cherry plywood, but like all the drawer fronts, the face frames, all the moldings, and it was all solid cherry. That stuff is ridiculously expensive. I don't know why I'm going off on a tangent on furniture. I'm going to make hippie Helen or Connor or whatever that Colleen's person's name was. Going to make that person very mad talking about furniture. But the point I'm trying to get at is you don't always save money because you're going to want to get that really good glass, that super clear glass, and you're going to want to get it polished, and you got to go to the glass shop to get them to do that, and they're going to polish it, and they're going to do all of this. Then you got to buy the expensive silicone, and you got to do this. And what are you going to do for a frame? You're not going to save money. If you do DIY, do it because you want exactly what you want, and you just don't want to pay someone else to do it. I don't have $40,000 to pay somebody to do my kitchen. So that's one of the reasons why I'm doing that myself. But the reason why I'm able to save money doing that is because I can buy a lot of stuff wholesale. I got connections. I know people, I have the tools. That's another thing that, people are like, I'm going to go buy me a track saw and a table saw and one of them DeWalt saws. And I'm going to get me a this and a that and a planer and a joiner. And I'm going to buy me a lathe so I can turn all the feet from it's like, how are you going to save money if you're doing that? You're not. So I guess the point of the dude's story is if your idea is you want to build your own tank to save money, don't do it. Money should not be the motivation. Pride of doing it yourself, getting exactly what you want, and getting something that's better than what you can go to the store and buy. That should be what motivates you to do it, not saving money. What else do I have here? Okay. I only have 2 cons for the DIY. And the first, we've already talked about both of them. Do you really know what you're doing? Because let's face it, we all do this. I can't tell you how many times I've done it where I've needed to know how to do something. So what do? I do exactly what you're doing right now. I go to YouTube, I watch one video on it, and I'm like, got it. Let's go. I know how to do it now. Don't do that for something that you're going to put dozens, if not hundreds of gallons of water into. Do you really know what you're doing? Joey Mullen does. But just because Joey Mullen knows and just because he showed you how to do it on a video doesn't mean you're an expert. And it's probably not time to mess around with something big like that if you don't really know what you're doing. And then the anxiety, the constant worry, is it going to blow up? Did I, the silicone didn't go on that one corner as well as I would have liked. Is it okay that I just put more silicone over top of it? Is that one guy said you really shouldn't do that. Should I reseal it? Just that worry all the time? That's too much for me. I don't want it. So for all of those reasons, I would not build my own tank. Build my own pond? Yeah, of course. I don't need to because I already have one. But we've entertained the idea of a second pond that would be very, very different from the one that I already have. It would be nowhere near as beautiful. It would be more of a modern style, similar. I think I even talked about it last week. Similar to what Tanner Serpa did in his backyard at his last house, the square one framed out of wood. Some of it's above ground, some of it's below ground. I would do something like that. Sure. If it leaks, ain't nobody getting hurt. It's not damaging anything. It just goes in the ground and I get pissed off, and that's all. I'm not going to build that in my house. So, yeah, that's the deal, folks. DIY is not for me. Everything else DIY is. If something's wrong with my truck, which it's pretty much brand new, so that's not going to be an issue. Give you a great example. I have a van that we use 3 days a week for our business. The other 2 days, I just take my truck or Lisa takes her car because there's not as many packages. But the van we use Monday, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays. It has 170,000 miles on it. The air conditioning is broke in it. I live in North Carolina. It's not pleasant. You better believe I've tried multiple times to fix the AC myself. How did I know how to do it? I watched YouTube videos. Did it work? Nope. The problem that I'm having is I don't know who to take it to. I'm not going to take it to a dealership because they would charge me more money than the van is worth. I don't know. There's a guy down the street from me that fixes up things in his backyard, fixes cars in his backyard. He's got a big building. I don't know him. I've never met him. I wouldn't know him if he pulled up in my driveway right now. Every time I pass his house, which his house is the opposite way, so I very rarely pass it. But whenever I do, I always look over to see if the door's open, and if it is, I was going to swing through and ask him because somebody told me he does it. I don't know how to fix air conditioning. Point I'm trying to make is, in cars, I don't know how to fix it. I'm going to try almost everything myself first. I'm not going to call a guy. That's just not in my nature to do it. Unless it's something dangerous, or unless me doing it is going to actually cost more money than hiring somebody to do it. Don't take it to Top Notch John, whatever you do. I don't know who that is, so probably not going to be that place. I'm horrible at DIY, but your video on how to make a tank stand helped me build one for my 75. That's amazing to hear. I'm so glad about that. And that's a different thing. We're not talking about stands here. I mean, I would advocate for DIY stands all day long because they're easy. If you want it to look really, really super duper nice, it's a little bit more difficult, but you can do it with most of your tools that you have around. Even if you're cutting wood the old fashioned way, most people, even without a ton of carpentry skills, could build a stand. I'm fully supported. I fully support that idea. But the glass box itself, let the pros do it. When it comes to the electrical work in your house, let the pros do it. I'm just saying. You don't want to lose everything because of that. But I've never heard of Top Notch. Top Notch is like 5 minutes from me. Left the cap off my oil change. What a mess. Oh, we kind of talked about that earlier. Except it was Jiffy Lube and it wasn't true. It was a made up story. So, what's my favorite of the three? Well, obviously it's custom. But that's because I'm a diva and I'm very fortunate to have friends in the right places. And I'm very fortunate to have a YouTube channel that the company appreciates being able to have their tanks shown on. It's one of the benefits of my job. Do I deserve it? Absolutely not. But it's part of the deal. And I'm very lucky for that. I've said it many times. In fact, I think I said it last week on this live stream. If I had to go down to one tank, it would be a 240 gallon custom aquariums tank. And I already have one, so it would probably be my Yellow Lab tank. That tank, I'm not saying the Yellow Labs would be in it, but they probably would. That's what I would have. That tank on the black stand that's on the casters with the seamless sump. That would be the only one I would have. Does that mean that a 125 is bad? No, of course not. Or a 75? No. But if Lisa and I ever downsize, which I think the only downsizing I'm ever going to do is to a 6x3 box buried in the ground. But if, all hell breaks loose and we have to downsize for whatever reason, or we just get old and whatever, or I finish renovating my house and some guy from Saudi Arabia comes by and says, I'll give you $3.5 million for it, I'm taking that deal. It's never going to happen. But whatever the circumstances are, if we were to downsize, when we would be shopping for a house, I would be looking for the right place for that 240 to go. And if it was great, if the house was great in every way, except there just wasn't going to be a spot for the 240, or the 240 was going to have to go way back in that back room, nope, we got to find something else. And then I'd have a fight on my hands because Lisa, but I would, that's what I would go down to. But if the compromise had to be, I can't have that, but I can have a 125, then I'm fine with that. And I wouldn't have to have it be custom. It could just be one of those that we already have. Actually, I'd probably buy a brand new one just to have it be nice and crisp and not have all the white yucky stuff around it and all, but yeah, that's my thoughts on it. A glass box of water full of water is a really cool thing. No matter how you get there, just, if you're going to DIY one, make sure you know what you're doing. Joey makes very good videos and he's very detailed. When he used to do those videos, building tanks, he's very detailed, but, it doesn't make you an expert because you watched them. I have faith in you, but, we're talking about a big deal here. Dennis gifted his 5 memberships for the week. Thank you, Dennis. You are the man. We are spoiled by you. Jamie Yee, hello. Finally catch the live stream. Well, hello. You've been a member for 28 months and you just finally caught the stream. Very excited to have you. I feel horrible. It took me a half an hour to respond to that. JR, got my trapdoor snails yesterday. Arrived looking great and healthy. Thanks again. Beautiful. That's Lisa. That's Lisa for you. But, sometimes I help pack them too. If it gets to be late in the day and we're running close on time, I might be the one sticking them in the boxes. But yeah, that's her thing. She does a great job. John, you're hilarious. I house shopped by scoping out the basement first for a fish room. Yeah. I mean, listen, I don't blame you, but Sue, I don't know how old you are. Doesn't really matter how old you are. I'm going to be 51 this year and I'm feeling it. So if Lisa and I ever house shop ever, I'm going to be looking one story because, yeah, I'm not going to want to mess around with basements, or I'm not saying it would be bad for a house. If we moved, we'd have to move back to Virginia because there's no basements here. But if we went back to Virginia, it'd be closer to the grandkids or whatever, and we got a basement, that'd be fine. But I wouldn't be preparing anything down there because that would just be my workshop. That's how it would be. I can definitely tell who signs the thank you note in the orders only because I can read Lisa's name when she signs it. Yeah. Grant, that's very true. And we both write the same things, but what I do differently, I'm better than her. I am. And I'll say it right to her face. You want to know why? Because I actually personalize it. Like I would write, thanks, Grant. So if your name's on it, it's me. And I always do it in green because black gets a little lost. And I want it to stand out. So I do it in green. For the last 3 months, I've been doing that in green. If you don't know what Grant's talking about, Lisa and I, we write a little thank you note. It's just a thank you. It's not like a big thing, but we do that on all of our orders. And I don't know what we're ever going to do when we bring people in to help us. I'm not going to be able to run around. I don't know how we're going to do that, but I've always done that, and I don't ever want to stop doing that. Sue, I just turned 51. So old. Yeah. I mean, tell me about it. It's terrible. I got a doctor's appointment in like 2 weeks. My checkup. I'm not excited about that because I'm going to go into that doctor's appointment and I'm going to tell the doctor for the third year in a row all the same things I told him the first. Yes, I've changed my diet. I'm exercising more. I'm trying to sleep more. It's the same thing. And what I love about this doctor is he's going to be like, are you bullshitting me? Because that's what you told me last year. And that's what you told me the year before that. I take notes, you know. I love doctors like that. He doesn't really break my balls, but he is, he'll tell it like it is. And I like that. I don't want somebody to, I don't know. I don't want all of that. Pre-sign all the label tape. Oh, that's funny. To me, it's not as much the signature because I don't feel like anybody cares like it's an autograph. Like autographs aren't even a real thing anymore. It's more selfies. Maybe that's what I'll do. I'll start doing a selfie of myself and send it to everybody when they order. Oh, we'd have 300 people a week with my phone number. That would be bad. That would be funny though. Wait until the camera producer. Wait until the camera producer. I don't know what that means, Curtis. 61 by date, 35 in my mind. Good for you, Dennis. Did I say 65? I said 61 and then 35 in my mind. I'm 51 with 75 in my mind. My brother and I had a conversation last night about weird. It was one of those grim conversations. My brother's 55. I'm the baby of the family. I have a sister that's 57 and my oldest sister is 60. And I like to break my mom's balls because I'm like, you realize you're the parent of 4 kids all over the age of 50, you old. My mom will be 80 this year and could run circles around me right now. But yeah, my brother and I had that talk of like, my dad dropped at 54. All my siblings have outlived him, which is bizarre. That really scared me. Like, you know, I'll be there in 3 years. I joke, Lisa doesn't like it, but I joke around with her all the time and it's terrible. But I say, yeah, you only got 3 years left. I hope I'm wrong, but, the body reminds me I'm not 35. Yeah, I got to tell you, it is embarrassing. I have so many long-term injuries from skateboarding and basketball and just being an idiot, car accidents, nonsense, flag football. Even though you're not supposed to get hurt in flag football, I found ways. It's all coming back to me now. Like when I have to get down on the ground, it's like, all right, everybody hold on. Wait a minute. Let me get down here and pick this up. It's a nightmare. I get so jealous when I see people like Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan's like 55 and jacked. And he's like, I ran 4 miles today. And I'm just like, how dare you? So, anyway, time flies so fast. It really does. It's going to be 3 years for us down here in 2 months. Technically, we've owned this house the bank owns it. We rent it from the bank. But we closed on this house 3 years ago, November. But we didn't move until May. Whips World knows. He knows that date very well. And it's almost 3 years. It's insane. My pappy just turned 82. 80 also, not 82. He was the first of I'm not going to say your names, to live into his 60s. That's your dad? You call your dad your pappy? Pappies to me have always been granddads. I don't know how you Midwesterners handle things, But down here in the South, a pappy is your granddad. Your grandpappy. Or maybe it's grandpappy. That's a grandpappy. Well, there you go. I broke my arm a week after I got Carla. Oh, good Lord. She didn't have anything to do with that, did she? I hope not. She's a good girl. 41, holding my newborn and talking with my teen. I feel really young by my teen's friends' parents and really old with my 3-year-old's classmates' parents. Yeah. I'm not going to say how old Lisa is because I value my marriage. But I was saying in the beginning of this stream, she is having some health issues right now, and she went to the doctors. She's been going for a couple of weeks now, and she came home from the doctors, I don't know, this week or last week, and she was like, well, good news, I'm not pregnant. We knew she wasn't, but it was a joke, and it was funny. I see these people, and Rebecca, bless you, because when I was 41, I almost have you by 10 years. I couldn't have done it. And I see these Hollywood weirdos that are older than me having kids. How old's Robert De Niro, that wacko? He's like 113 years old or something like that. And he just had a kid recently. I mean, that's, I couldn't do it right now. 50, there's no way. I'm like, I love my grandkids. I would give my life for any of them. But when they all come and then they all go home, I'm like, wow, that escalated quickly. Whew, that was something there, wasn't it? De Niro's baby just turned 2. Yeah, and he's 119 years old. So, I mean, I saw an interview with, is it Chet Eastwood? What's Clint Eastwood's son's name that's the actor that looks just like him? Poor guy. Jeez. I forget his name. But Clint Eastwood's son that was from like Clint's 5th wife or whatever it was. And he had him when he was his wife had him when he was in his 60s. Is it Scott Eastwood? He was in his 60s. And I'm like, what? Like, Scott, okay. Yeah, poor guy. Looks just like his dad did, except he's not 9 feet tall. But I loved him in whatever. I've seen him in movies, and I like him. The nanny is raising that kid. Yeah, I mean, that is true. A lot of those Hollywood people, they don't raise their own kids. But it's still like, man, like I don't even have the energy to go to the labor and wait for the doctor. I'd be like, can you get on with this? Come on. I mean, I got to take my pills, and I got to go to bed soon. It's like, whew. That's why grandkids are the best. Because I can play Fortnite with them. I talk to 2 of them all the time playing Fortnite. I play with one, and the other's not old enough to play yet. He's 3, but he'll put his dad's headset on and talk to me while I'm playing, and that's fun. And then, you know, when they come over, I get to send them home. I don't have to worry while they're sleeping. Like, oh, if I hear the littlest noise, I got to freak out and run up there. No, that's his parents' job. I'm asleep like a baby. That's a beautiful thing. And I can't imagine having a child at this age. Bless you if you've done it. I'm 48 and there's no way I could do a baby. Yeah, I mean, it's nuts. My youngest sibling came when my dad was 58. Well, see, bless your dad. Your dad must have been one of those surfer dude bodybuilders or something, because I don't want kids. I'm 25. You'll figure it out sooner or later. You'll figure it out. Some people don't. Some people don't want them. And we do what we do. And that is completely up to you. And a lot of people, I'm not saying this about you, aquarium, aquatics, whatever that is. I'm not trying to be a jerk. I'm sorry. That might be the right thing for you. You know what I'm saying? Some people weren't meant to be parents. I I'm 48 with a 4-year-old. Yeah, you're pushing it, brother. I'm joking with you. I mean, when I was 44, I don't know. That was only 6 years ago, but so much has happened in 6 years. It's like, I'm glad I am very proud of every single one of my kids. They're all doing amazing. We have a blended household, but I call hers mine. They're all doing amazing things, and it's great. And I'm very proud of that. I'm glad to be done with the raising part. Of course, they still call and they need advice, and that's all great, and I don't mind that. That's wonderful. We do it. If they all of a sudden needed to move back in with us, okay, come on. Bring all of the kids with you too. We'll just have a big party, and it'll be chaos, but that's fine. But I'm glad we don't have to do that anymore. And you will be too. If you are a parent and your kids you're still in that process of raising your kids, and you're thinking, I will never talk like that when my kids are older and they move out, and it's going to be the worst. And yeah, it's the worst when they first go, but then when they're gone, it's like, you know what? We did a good job. We did what we were supposed to do. I still worry about them every single day of my life, but my job is done. Good job. Did an okay job. And I'm glad that now I get to sit in peace and quiet all the time until Lisa walks in. And then, in hindsight, I wouldn't have had kids. You never stop worrying about them. And that is 100%. And that is the hardest part of being a parent. Every bad dream, everything you see on the news, you never stop. That's the hardest part for sure, is the always worrying, constantly worrying. And I'm that parent that, never wanted to put a helmet on my kids, but I'm the one that's was always worried. Oh, don't fall. Be careful. Don't slip. Go. Be careful. Yeah. Oh, easy. Slow down. Like, I was that guy. I was always paranoid. And I'm that way when the grandkids come over. I'm like, hey, wait a minute. Don't get too close. And everybody makes fun of me for that. So yeah, the worrying is miserable. But it is what it is. So listen, folks, it's 8:57, which means we're 3 minutes away from Primetime Aquatics. I don't know what they're talking about tonight. Do we know a topic for them? Let's see. I have them on the redirect. I wonder if I can see it here. Wait, customization. Sand versus gravel. Which is better for your aquarium? Plus a giveaway, plus a fish Q&A. Good Lord, they are doing a lot on their stream tonight. Jason and Joanna are putting in work tonight. Sand versus gravel. That's a good topic. Lisa, why didn't you think of that one? That would have been funny. I would have done that, and then Jason would have. That would have been funny. But maybe we'll do that in the coming weeks. I also would love, if you're watching this on replay or if you're in the chat, think about it for next week. I'm going to start doing product reviews, and I'm excited about it. I'm going to start doing more of those, not only products that we carry on our website. I am not going to review all of the cheap junk on Amazon, because that would just get old after a while. But I'd love to know your thoughts on products that you'd like to see me review. I'll just buy them. And I have some connections with some places, so I might be able to save a few dollars there, or I can buy them wholesale. But I want to start doing that. That's my favorite thing to do. And it'd be nice. I mean, I could bang out a couple of those a week. So let me know what you think you would like to see me review. But just make sure it's not something that I've already done. Talk about the new CJ canister filter coming out. Oh, I will be. The second it comes out, believe me. I will probably have it before it's actually released, because they'll put it in my hands to test out and stuff like that. So I'll know about it. I will have experience with it when it releases to the public. I'll definitely be doing that. That's a guarantee. That's happening. But other stuff, I'd love to get into too. And you know, it does, like I said, it doesn't only have to be stuff I like. I can do anything. I just don't know if I'm able to get Oase stuff. Oase. I don't know if I'm able to get that. But anyway, 9:00. Well, I haven't gotten the text from Jason yet, and he's usually pretty quick with that. Think you should review Oase. See, somebody already said it. If I can figure out how to get their stuff, I will. But Oase is, I don't know if they're pulling out of America. I don't want to spread rumors, but I've heard something about that. I don't know. I don't know where to get their stuff. I'd rather not order it off of Amazon if that's the only place you can get it. But if that's the only place it can be done, then I got to do what I got to do, I guess. But maybe Jason, there he is. Okay. I just got the text from Jason. They are live over there, folks. So head over there and join the conversation where they'll be talking about gravel versus sand. I'm going to check it out a little bit, but don't talk to me in the chat because I'm going to be just lurking because I'm tired. I had to run this whole thing by myself tonight. It's exhausting. Thank you so much for hanging out. Go hang out with Jason and Joanna. It'll be fun. And I'll see you next week. Probably again going to be me solo next week. If you can tolerate that, I'd love to see you. Bye.